Beyond good, beyond evil, beyond your wildest imagination.
You are watching Optibotimus. Ho!
Thundercats! Ho!
Thundercats are on the move. Thundercats are loose. Feel the magic, hear the roar. Thundercats are loose. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats. Thunder, thunder, Thundercats. Thunder, 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 Thundercats.
Hello and welcome to the interview that will be featured on the Team Bottomless Variety Hour podcast and Tooncast Beyond. I am one of your hosts, DFJ and Mike, and joining me is Optibotimus. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And returning to the Geekcast Radio Network is the one, the only, Lord of the Thundercats, Larry Kenney. Hi, Larry. How are you?
Hi guys, how you doing? Hey, I thought you were never going to call me again.
Oh.
I'm glad you did. Wait, before we get going here, Optibotimus, where do I know that name from? Seems to me I just recently did a voice clip for Optibotimus.
Yep. You
got
actually
married,
did.
You got married, didn't you?
I did. And a good friend of mine, Kevin, actually,
Yeah.
I don't know how well he knows you or what, but he mentioned that he has some contact with you. And he's
Rosemary
like,
Ward. Rosemary
Yes.
knows all the voice actors.
Rosemary Ward, yeah. Kevin and I went to
messaged-
different high schools together.
Oh,
At
wow.
different-
Awesome.
At different times.
Awesome. He's like I can't do much for you for your wedding, but we actually got married on the 11th, and he's like, but I got something that I'm gonna try and do for you. He's like, there's no
Okay.
promises, but let me see what I can do. And then he sent it to me, and I was just absolutely floored. And right after that, I sent you a message thanking you. So to
Yes,
be
you
able to
did.
thank you personally is a great honor, and
Wow.
it's hilarious because Mike here, for a birthday present, scheduled because my birthday was yesterday of all days,
Oh, my
and
gosh.
as a birthday present, he involved me in this interview itself. So I'm just getting totally googly-eyed over here.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
no. When Paul's friend Kevin had gotten that from Rosemary, I was like, "Well, I've been meaning to email Larry." So I was like, "I'm not going to be upstaged." So here, we would love to talk to you about the new Thundercat series. What
Let's
date
do
is
that.
easy? You know, what date's best date for you? And it just so happens to turn out that it's the day after Paul's birthday.
Oh, that's fantastic. And now here we are all together. How about that? It's a
Look at
small
this.
world, isn't it?
Yes,
After
yes,
all.
it is. Very
But,
small.
I'd sure hate like hell to have to paint it, I'll tell you that. So what do you guys think of the new series? Hello?
No,
Is that my,
here.
wait a minute, is that my answer? Maybe I shouldn't have asked that question.
No. Paul, what do you think of the new series?
I'm being brutally honest. I'm not a very big fan of the animation style.
Goodbye.
but
Okay, no, go ahead.
but-
The anime, right? Okay.
But yeah, just the anime look. I've never been a big fan of that in terms of cartoons or anything, just in general. But
Yeah.
the storylines and everything that's going along with it, I'm absolutely enthralled with it. And it's easy for me to overlook the animation that I don't like because I'm so entertained by the
Yeah.
story that's going along. So
I'll buy that.
there,
that.
see, did I save myself with that one?
I don't know. I wasn't really listening.
Figures.
Well, listen. Everybody likes. Not everybody likes everything, and not everybody likes everything about a particular thing. You know, I mean, there were people who didn't care for certain aspects of the original series. So you know,
Oh, yeah.
that's what makes the world go round. You know, different strokes for different folks. Hey, that'd be a great
As
song.
for me, I really, I don't like. I don't know what it is. I've seen plenty of animes like that have come over from Japan and all that stuff. I've seen the anime style. I just think this style that they're using on the Thundercats 2011 series is the Western style now, or whatever. I mean, that's just the way it is. It's one of those styles. Yes, I know they send it over to Japan or to wherever, to certain studios over there overseas to animate it, but there's a huge difference between what they're doing in Thundercats 2011 versus what they did in like Ghost in the Shell or whatever else. The voice cast is great.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. You guys are much more familiar with other shows and series and styles of animation and anime than I am, so I can't really compare it to anything else. You know. But I like it. I like the new style. But again, I don't know what other things look like,
Yeah. So how did you become involved with the new series? I mean, did you just go in on an audition, or did the producers say, hey, we want the original Lion-O?
The second one. The guys who, the folks who were involved with it, first of all, everybody who's on the Warner Brothers crew, from the writers to the illustrators to the directors, and even Sam Register, who's the president of Warner Brothers Animation International, Universal or whatever it is, are huge Thundercats fans, huge fans of the first series, and so they called my agent and asked to talk, about me being in the new show. I didn't even know there was a new series until I got a call from my agent saying, there is a new series. Warner Brothers is beginning a new series, and they'd like you to be in it. So that was the first that I had heard. And in the ensuing time, I've been to 2 or 3 Comic-Cons with some of the folks from. We've done panels in San Diego and San Francisco and different places with some of the writers. And every Comic-Con, when they're asked, they tell the audience that I just told you that they were huge fans of the series, and from the very beginning of the project, their goal was to bring the spirit of the original series, the original characters, the original story, to maintain that, and just give it a new look and a kind of updated style, and bring it into the 21st century. And I think they've done a great job with that.
Yeah, they have.
I completely agree. It's one of those things where Mike and I had talked about this previously, that it's different enough. It's a different enough storyline from the original series that it's, for all of us old fans of the old series, we're able to watch this, and it's just not a rehash of the old stuff. It's something completely different and new. I mean, we were talking about some of the differences that I think I jokingly said that it's weird how Lion-O and Tigra in this are kind of like stepbrothers, whereas in the original series they weren't. And
exactly. Yeah.
And all these different new elements that they're throwing into the new series, that it's like, oh wow. And we were talking about this before we got you on here just today, that Chitara has a decision about who she apparently is wanting to be romantic with. And that was throwing me for a loop when I first saw it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's not the way it's supposed to be.
All right, let me paint you guys a picture here.
Uh-oh.
Would you rather have fully animalized naked Chitara from the old series, or would you rather have the new series one just trying to, make a pass at you? I mean, both series have always portrayed Chitara as kind of a sex pot. I hate to say that, but...
Well, as I said at the San Diego Comic-Con at the panel, that as far as I'm concerned, Chitara was the original Thundercats Hope.
Oh.
So I'm not surprised at all by the way she's catting around, in this new series. And of course, who the new Chitara is. It's Emmanuel Chiriki.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's a lovely young woman.
Yeah.
And at one of the panels, in fact, it was at San Diego where they for the first time, showed the first episode to the audience in the panel.
Yeah.
They showed that before we walked out on stage, and of course we were all backstage just with our fingers crossed and wondering, are we going to get bottles tossed at us when we walk out there, because nobody had seen outside of the studio had seen anything about the new series, and that audience was totally packed with people, Comic-Con audiences are, who are diehard fans. They wait in line for hours and hours to get those tickets,
Yeah.
And man, when we were backstage listening to the cheers and the roars that went up, we could tell they were loving it. But we didn't know. We had a rear entrance all staked out to get out of that building if we had
Just in
to.
case.
Yeah, just in case.
Nice. That's hilarious. Now, I'm kind of random when it comes to stuff. So I'm going off of Mike here, and he's going to hate me for this. But when they came to you and they wanted you to do Claudius as Lion-O, his father, did you? How did that make you feel? I mean, did you want to be a larger role in the series, or were you happy with just that smaller little bit?
No. Well, first of all, let me just say that from the very first time I got that email from my agent, and I called Robin Stetcher back. Robin Stetcher is one of the top agents at Don Buchwald and Associates, whom I've been with for 40 years, and when she was an agent back in the while we were recording the original Thundercats. I think she was an agent's assistant, but she used to come to the recording sessions all the time. She loved watching us do that show. And now she is, as I said, pretty much running the office at Don Buchwald and Associates. And so she's the one who emailed me. She's the one that they contacted and who emailed me, and she said, call me. And when I called her, she was as excited as I was that there was a new series. But she said, I think I know how you feel about it, but tell me. And I said, about doing it. I said, but tell me. And I said, well, the first thing you're going to have to do is get a copy of the script. For any scripts that they had on that they want me to be involved in, and we want a synopsis, or maybe I could talk to them. I just want to see what they're going to do with the show. I said because for 30 years now almost, I've had people writing me about how much Thundercats meant to them, as all of us in the casting crew have gotten an email.
Yeah.
We talk to people on the street and at Comic-Cons and things, and on Facebook who love the original Thundercats, and not just as a show they like to watch when they were kids. People have written me that we may have talked about this last time, how much it meant to them growing up,
Yeah.
And I know that Thundercats maybe more than other shows of that genre. I don't know, but I don't care about the other shows. I know that Thundercats. In this regard, I didn't mean that. I meant that. That I'm very protective of what anybody does with Thundercats, or certainly what I do with any new Thundercats project, from the fans' point of view. I wouldn't. Okay, Warner Brothers owns the rights. They can do it. They can do anything they want with it. They could have done. I mean, nobody could have stopped them from making the biggest, craziest, dumbest show in the world that everybody hated. They own it now. They bought it, but they didn't. They I found out from reading the scripts and everything and talking to them that they were going to make the kind of show that I knew the fans would like and be happy about, and so I said, okay, I'll do it, and it turned out to be great, I think. But your question actually was, would I rather have had a bigger role? Of course, I mean, that would have been nice, but I understand even from the very beginning. First of all, I think it was a wonderful homage to the and it kind of nod to the fans of the original show.
Oh, I agree entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, I got goosebumps when I first heard you. Because up until this, I try to stay as spoiler free when it comes to things like this. And like I said, I just turned 33, so I grew up with Thundercats.
Yeah.
And I knew they were making a new series.
Mm-hmm.
I tried not to get any information because I didn't want to get my hopes up, because I'm like, after this long, come on. I mean, it's not going to be that good. That was my first initial take. I mean, I'm like, cartoons nowadays suck. So, so as soon as I saw it, and as soon as you came in, and I heard the voice of Claudius, I'm like, oh, I seriously got goosebumps. And it was absolutely amazing. And it was at that point I could pinpoint it, and it was that point when the animation that I didn't like initially just completely went away, and I was focused on what was being said and the story that was being told. And
oh, that's great. Well, I think it was a very clever way for them to do it. First of all, like I said, I think it was a very noble thing that they did and a good idea to have me, you know, or anybody from the, you know, could have been one of the other people from the original cast or all of us or whatever. I think that was maybe their way of saying to the fans, and partly, you know, it's going to be the old show that you liked, you know. But I think mostly because, like I said, all these guys and women who are working on who are producing the show are tremendous fans of Thundercats, and they wanted to make the show, you know. And what a convenient and serendipitous way to do it. Have me play Lion-O's father. I'm older now. My voice is a little older now, and it fits perfectly, you know.
yeah.
So the people have asked me, well, in fact, I don't know if you remember, but when there was talk of Warner Brothers doing a movie, well, Warner Brothers had actually announced they were going to do a Thundercats movie a few years ago.
Yeah.
I did
And
remember doing that, yeah.
they had hired a director and a scriptwriter and everything, and then I still thought that's what was going to happen until I got this call from my agent. But there were petitions online, Thundercats websites, petitioning Warner Brothers to make me be Lion-O again in the movie, you know. But as I've said to people, what would have been first of all, they want to make a new Thundercats, this new series. They want to be a new Thundercats. Okay, they kept the spirit and everything of the original. But what would be the point of having it sound exactly the same with the same actors? We're not all still alive, for one thing. And as you mentioned, you know, one of you guys weren't too crazy about the new animation. What would be the point of animating it the same way? You know what I'm saying? What would be the point of spending a lot of money on the same show?
Right.
Yeah.
You already did it.
Yeah. It's been done once. I remember there's a great quote one time from Liza Minnelli. You know, of course, her mother was Judy Garland.
Right.
And Liza Minnelli was doing a concert at the Radio City Music Hall. And as the applause died down after one of her songs, somebody in the balcony yelled loud, "Sing Over the Rainbow." And the crowd went nuts and cheered, and she had to wait for it to die down, and she just said very simply into the microphone, "It's been sung."
Yeah.
Oh,
In other words,
I mean-
what would be the point?
yeah.
My
I
mother-
mean, there's a big difference though between getting the entire original cast doing the same original animation
Yeah.
versus this new style and bringing yourself or Peter Newman or even Earl Hyman in as guest roles. I mean, yeah, sure, you know, you're gonna have, you know, this new direction, as Paul said, is an entirely new direction, entirely new story. You were only in the first 7 episodes, I think.
First 3, actually. I died in the third one,
Yeah.
but then I came back. I shouldn't say Claudius. Claudius reappeared in a flashback. And
Right.
by the way, just a month or so ago, they called me back out to Warner Brothers Ranch in Burbank, and I did I hope it's okay for me to tell them to tell you this once. I guess.
Yeah, they don't listen to this anyhow.
Well, they're already getting ready for a DVD, and so they had me do this. Had me come out there for this little short. It's about, I think, 3 minutes long. It's gonna be a part of the DVD package whenever that comes out. And it's a little cartoon, if you will. You know, like when you usually go to the movies, there'd be a cartoon with the movies.
Right.
And it's just Claudius, Snarf, and Lion-O as a baby. He's in a diaper.
Oh,
And
sweet.
It's kind of a flashback to when Lion-O was a baby. And I can't give you any of the details, but except that what it kind of does is explains the genesis of how Snarf became Lion-O's watcher and protector and everything. It's very cute, very funny.
Now, what do you think about the differences between the old Snarf, Bob McFadden voiced, and the new Snarf being more of a pet?
Well, you know, there's always a running joke when you go to Comic-Cons or anytime you're talking to Thundercats fans in a group. There are people who found Snarf annoying and hated Snarf, and there were people who just thought he was the cutest thing in the world. So I guess they tried to bridge the gap by keeping Snarf in the show, but not letting him talk.
It was when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they took, because again, I'm an original watcher, I'm an original show fan, and I watched it, and I appreciate what they did differently with it in the new series, but I'm watching it, I'm like, they basically took Snarf, which was always kind of Lion-O in the original series. It was his protector, it was his guardian, always was going around with him. It was, I don't want to say it was his best friend, but he was always there. And now they relegated him to a pet, and I was just like, that's it was weird for me.
Yeah.
But I was one of those kind of people that I was annoyed. Snarf. I mean, okay, that's over and done with. Get rid of that. And it was an annoyance for me. But now he's like super cute.
Yeah.
And there's girl fans out there that just get goo over whenever Snarf makes an appearance in one of these new episodes. It's funny to watch because they just want to pinch his cheeks. He's so gosh darn cute.
Well, there you go. That's another difference between the.
And I mean, honestly, who in today's age could have given the nursemaid role what Bob McFadden did with it? I mean, I honestly don't think, out of all the voice actors I know about, out of everybody that is up and coming, I don't think anybody could have really embodied, even a newer version of the nursemaid role, could have done what Bob did.
Bob was the best, and maybe that's why they made the change. Maybe when it came time to say, okay, who's going to play Snarf, they just said, you know what,
we can't do it.
Who are we going to find that's going to be as good as that? So maybe they just said, let's change it and make him not talk. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, listen. I get asked a lot of questions like this at different places, and I'm not trying to be evasive because.
Right.
But it's true that we're actors. Those of us mechanics, we're actors, and we read the lines they write, and they direct us on how to read them and all that kind of stuff. And basically, that's our job. We don't write the stuff. We don't, and there's very little time when you're recording these things. Very little time for discussion about why did you have him do this, and is he ever going to do? It's time to work. We got to get it done, get it out, and so I don't know much more than anybody else does as to why they did this, why they did that.
How long ago did you do the DVD special feature recording?
Oh, it was just maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, about 6 weeks ago.
Okay, because TV shows on DVD.com lists Season 1, Book 1 coming out. It was released October 18th.
No, that's obviously couldn't be this one. Wait a minute now. I did it almost 6 weeks ago, about October 18th, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's out already. So are you saying it's out already?
I'm seeing a news story here on a website called TV Shows on DVD, basically saying that there's a package art and a trailer. It basically says Season 1, Book 1. It is the first... Season 1, Book 1, October 18th. The 2-disc package will cost $19.97 and contain the first 8 episodes.
I bet that's it. It's probably it then.
Oh, well, there you go.
I did it right around the second week of October, maybe the first week of October. I don't recall it. Wait a minute. Oh. You know what? It was September. It was September.
Cool. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The Season 1, Book 1, 8-episode DVD of Thundercats 2011 has a special feature with Larry. There we go. Awesome.
You guys figured that out. You guys are good.
Yeah, see that?
See what I was just saying? I was just saying I don't know anything more than you guys do, and there you go. You proved it. You knew more than I did.
Well, if I had a Sword of Omens here, I could have used my Sight Beyond Sight, but I don't have a Sword of Omens, so.
You have such terrible jokes.
Frankly, it wouldn't do you any good. See, now you're come on now, you know better than that because you know that Sword of Omens only works for the person who owns it, who it belongs to, and that's Lion-O.
Well,
So you can wave it around all you want.
Toys R Us would argue with Lion O.
Yeah, I
because
went
they
in there.
have tons of plastic knockoffs.
I threw $20 down. I have my own sort of omens right here hanging on my wall.
Yeah, good luck trying to make it give you sight beyond sight.
Yeah,
pal.
I can't see too much.
Hey, listen, guys, I got about 5 more minutes.
Okay. So, are there any more flashbacks coming up in, like, maybe next season? Or do you know if they're going to call you back to do any more flashbacks with Claudius?
I honestly don't know. I mean, they how can I explain this? That's been asked. I'm sorry to keep answering your questions with the same answer. That always starts out with, well, at the Comic-Cons they say this, but that's how I get my information.
Right.
when the fans in the audience ask questions of the writers and the directors and things like that, and I listen to it, and then I remember. That's how I get my information, because other than that, maybe except for having a beer after the panel with these guys, I don't have discussions with them, you know. But it has been asked, will Claudius be back in future episodes? And Dan, I forget his last name, one of the writers said, with a kind of a wink, he said, well, I can't tell you for sure, of course, but he smiled in the camera and said, keep watching.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
I think the final question for this little interview that we're doing with you will be, tell us about what it's like working with the new cast as far as...
I can't. I have not done that.
Oh, you didn't work? It wasn't ensemble?
Nope. And I was so disappointed because from the very first time they flew me out to Burbank, at Warner Brothers Ranch, had a lovely little boutique hotel right across the street, and I was so excited. I even had gone online and looked up the names and found out some things about them so I'd be able to, you know, act like I had known them. And then I walk into the studio, and I figure, well, I'm the first one here because I see the studio with the 6 microphones arranged the same way we used to have them arranged when we recorded it, in a kind of a semicircle. The copy stands were there, and I'm chatting with the engineer and a couple of the writers, and for the longest time, and then finally one of them says, well, maybe we should get started. You want to go on in? And I said, I thought we were going to wait for everybody else. And he said, no, they're not working today.
Oh.
And the 3 times that I went to L.A., I walked in, stood in an empty studio, a huge studio with 6 microphones, and I was all by myself. I was very disappointed. Wow. But I have since met Emmanuel Tricky, who's the new Chitara, and Matthew. I met Matthew, who's the Tigra.
Yeah.
I have not met Will Friedel, although we've emailed back and forth, and we plan to meet the next time I go out there. But I was hoping to be able to work with the rest of the cast, but it didn't happen. Yeah. Maybe in the future.
Yeah. There's one episode, I think it's the episode where Panthro comes back, or it's like within the story, supposedly Panthro had died and he's not actually dead, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's one of those twisters. And he comes back, and in the next episode, he's sitting there fixing the Thunder Tank.
Yeah.
And they threw in the outtake. It's like, blasted Semiflange broke again.
The audience went crazy at San Diego when they said, that darn Semiflange, and I'm laughing like crazy when I was back there. Well, there's a lot of little things they've thrown in like that, if you notice. Yeah. People even saying, did I see a Robert burble just for a second? And they said, yeah. You saw a quick shot of a Robert burble. And somebody even said, I could swear I saw one of the Silverhawks in there.
Yeah.
And they said, yeah. So the person said, does that mean? And now on the internet there's all this
all the buzz
discussion
from
about,
the Silverhawks.
Does that mean that the Silverhawks will someday be on the Thundercats? And again, they just said, well, you have to keep watching to see.
Yeah.
That's driving me nuts.
It is animation after all, so anything is possible.
Yeah.
That's one of those little teaser things that's been driving me nuts ever since. It was there was a scene where they showed Monstar,
Monstar,
And
yeah.
that's where the reference was, and it was spot on to how it looked in the original Silverhawks. And
I think that's a neat way of doing that, because
Yeah.
part of it is like the Samophlans thing. That obviously was another little homage because they know that that's become famous on the outtakes on the internet, and everybody knows about the Samophlans thing. So for them to put that in there is kind of, to me, it's saying to the audience, "Here you go, that's for you."
Right.
Yeah. All right, Larry, before we let you go, do you have anything coming up that you'd like to promote or anything that we can look forward to?
As a matter of fact, next Saturday at 2 p.m. Here in my home, we're having my grandson Bonham's third birthday party. I just wanted to mention that. Oh, did you mean professionally?
Yes.
Unless you're inviting us all to his birthday party.
Sure, come on. There's going to be enough kids as it is.
I'm there.
Not really. I'm still doing commercials. I've got a new one that's been on for a few weeks for Dawn Detergent, where after almost 50 years in the business, I'm playing a sponge. You might watch for it. He's a doctor. This doctor is a sponge is a doctor, and he's saying to this woman sponge something like, I don't know, you've got a lot of grease build up there. You're going to have to use new Dawn. That'll take care of it.
I've seen it, actually. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that's me doing my third sponge on the left.
Well done.
So that's my career now. That's what it's come down to. I'm playing Dr. Sponges.
Well, and birthday parties, so it's...
And birthday parties, yeah.
We would like to thank Mr. Kenney for taking the time to chat with us in this special TBVH and Tooncast Beyond interview. We'll ask you to hold the line, and we'll be back after this.
Let me show you what it's capable of in the proper hands.
Uh-oh. Catch!
The book told that it was the Thundercats, our ancestors, who first defeated Mum Ra. It was the Thundercats who brought law and order to a world of warring animals. And it is now the Thundercats who are strong enough to maintain this fragile peace. That's it. Concentrate.
When I'm not rooting Third Earth of Mum Ra's evil, I'm enjoying Tooncast with the other Thundercats.
There you go. 33 years, and you finally get to talk to Larry Kenney. Happy birthday, dude.
Honestly, when it comes down to it, I would, like I said, I tweeted right before this, and I was nervous about it because when I grew up, I watched Thundercats, I watched Silverhawks, I watched Transformers, and there are voices that I grew up listening to, and his is one of them, and an absolute honor. I cannot thank you, Mike, for doing this, and I can't thank him enough for also doing it. It just absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, he's a really, really awesome guy. It's nice to talk to him again. As I said in the very beginning of the interview, this will be featured both on the Team Bottomless Variety Hour RSS for the podcast, and it'll also be on Tooncast Beyond as well. So,
I might actually listen to my own podcast this time around. That's terrible.
So funny. Anyways, all right. So we are the goddamn Optibotomus, and I am TFG1 Mike. And that's it. There you have it. Larry Kenney, ladies and gentlemen. Guy that needs no introduction. So we will catch you next time.